They say motherhood is a journey, but let's be honest, sometimes it feels more like a roller coaster with no seatbelt. I bet you're like me, wondering why babies, or teens in my case, don't come with instruction manuals. Welcome to This Incredible Mom Life, the podcast that celebrates the beautiful chaos, quiet wins, messy moments, and everyday miracles of being a mom. I'm your host, Dummy, wellness coach, mom of 3 boys, and a passionate believer that you don't have to live at the mercy of PMS, burnout, or exhaustion. Join me every week as we hear the craziest and most unbelievable mom stories. I'll be sharing the huge accomplishments and triumphs of both our moms and their kids. We'll giggle, cheer on the kids, and discuss obstacles and lessons learned along the way. If you are struggling to be the best mom you can be, how open-minded are you to booking a free call with me? You don't have to live at the mercy of your cycle, and you definitely don't have to do it alone. Give yourself permission to let me be part of your support system. I believe that you weren't meant to just survive motherhood. You were meant to thrive in it. Hello, welcome back to another episode of This Incredible Mom Life. I have another supermom guest with me today. Eileen Kopsaftis is the founder of Have Lifelong Wellbeing. She is an eclectically trained physical therapist, nutrition educator, and best-selling author of 2 books, Pain Culprits and Aging Culprits. Teaching facts about pain, movement, and aging that are mostly unknown is her specialty. She speaks nationally, publishes articles, and teaches movement and pain education classes, both online and at the local community college. Her passion is to show people how to age without decline and move without pain. Thank you, Eileen, for taking time out of your day to be here with me.
Well, thank you, Amy, for having me. I'm very excited, hoping that we can share some good things for all those hardworking moms out there.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So let's get started and share with us who you are a mom to.
Okay, well, I'm a mom to 4 children. I have 3 daughters and 1 son. I sort of took a 20-year gap between the first 2 and the second 2. And I had this brilliant idea that I would be a much better mom the second time around, and learned that it's a learning curve no matter how much expertise you think you've gained over the years. And each child is so uniquely different. They require a completely different way of interacting. So I'm also the grandmother of 4 now grandsons. 3 of them are sons of my oldest daughter. So the youngest is just turned 18. And then I have a brand new grandson who will be 9 months in a couple of weeks. And he's fairly local. The other 3 I have to get on a plane to go see. So I love them all dearly. And yeah, I really enjoy having a family.
Yeah, you have not only your kids have a big age gap, but it sounds like your grandkids do too.
Yes, because of the age gap in the kids. I had my son and my daughter when I was just before I turned 19. Or no, when I was 19, I had my son. Just before I turned 21, I had my oldest daughter. And then I had my second daughter just before I turned 41, and my third daughter when I was 44.
Wow.
So,
So
yes.
you have been busy. You thought you were done and then you started all over again and then you started again with the
Yes.
grandkids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right, well, share. I'm sure you have plenty of mom stories, so share one with us.
Yeah, so I was, thinking long and hard about this, what would be good to share. And the one thing that came to mind was a really special time when I went to visit my grandsons, because I had to meet my youngest grandson because I had to get on a plane to see him. My older 2 grandsons knew me well because they lived in the area before they moved. And every single week we had a big family dinner after church on Sundays. And it was just such a grand time. The kids running around making lots of noise, my 2 younger daughters, my 2 grandsons, and my mother complaining about all the noise the kids were making. It was just wonderful. Every Sunday was chaos and love, and it was beautiful. I enjoyed it every single week. And then, of course, when they moved, I was kind of heartbroken. And when my youngest grandson was born, he was 6 weeks old when I flew out to meet him. I wanted to wait till he was at least old enough to maybe smile. And so we didn't tell my oldest grandson that I was coming. My daughter decided, Mom, let's make it a surprise. Now, I was very close to him when he was a baby. He and his mom actually lived with me for a brief time because of some things going on in her life. So he and I were always very close. And so I think at the time he was probably about 7, maybe. And
Mhm.
so I show up in the living room, and the back of the sofa faces when you enter the living room, and he was on the sofa, and he turns around and he goes, Grandma. And he climbed up on the back of the sofa as I was walking toward him, and he literally dove through the air
Jeez.
into my arms and wrapped himself around me like a little monkey and wouldn't let go for about 15 minutes.
Wow.
And that to me is the most precious, special memory that I have of he and I. And it also showed me, and the reason I think I wanted to share this was sometimes we think distance will impact relationship when we're not seeing somebody consistently, when we're not able to spend time with them. But what I found was because of the foundation our relationship had, it didn't, well, obviously it matters. I missed him and wanted to see him, but it didn't change the dynamics of our relationship.
Nice.
And it was just so special. And I'll follow it up with this. I had brought him. I was thinking of the games because back when I was a kid, games didn't light up. They didn't make noise. They did. I'm less than 3 years from 70, so games were very different back then. And there was this game, Battleship, that I thought he
Mhm.
would really like. And it was the old-fashioned Battleship where you had to do everything manually. And I said, Grandma, I brought you, or I said, Daniel, I brought you a gift. Let's play Battleship. Um, and I'm going to kick your butt. And he turns around and he goes, No, Grandma, I'm going to kick your butt. And my son-in-law is looking like, not sure he wants his son talking like that to his grandmother, but it was the way we related to each other, and we just had a ball playing the game. And yeah, so I guess I just wanted to encourage moms that as life changes, as life transitions, that relationship that you have doesn't dilute
Yes.
because you're not able to see each other as consistently as you would like.
Yep. Especially in this day and age when you have video calls and things like that. So my mom lives down the road from me, so we do the same thing. We go to her house every once a week for dinner. Um, but my brother-in-law, he's out in Phoenix. We're in New York, so we get on FaceTime with the my two nephews who are much younger, a couple times a week. And they talk to my kids, they talk to me, they talk to my husband. So when they were here for Christmas, it was so great because they knew us, like we were able to, they weren't strangers and we didn't feel like we didn't know them. They didn't know us. And the youngest is only 3. So the fact that he recognized us and he had a good time was
Yes.
fun. So I love
Yes.
that story. What a
Yes. And
cute
my
story.
youngest grandson, I was afraid I would be a stranger to him because he grew up 2,500 miles apart from me. But it was one of the times my daughter always made a point of coming back at least a couple times a year. And of course, I went out there as often as I could. But there was one point he was very shy and little child. And I think he was about 3, maybe 4. And he was upstairs in our spare room. He and his mom were staying there when they visited. And I remember hugging him and going, I love you, Luke. And he actually said it back, I love you, Grandma. And
Aw,
that was very special because I knew he meant it because he was a very shy kid and he wouldn't have just said that. He would have just kind of like,
yeah.
So,
Aw. Well, you are blessed with an amazing family. I love that.
yes.
Um, and I'm sure you will have many more years of stories to come, which is
Yes.
one of the things we're going to talk about today. So tell us what you do as a chronic pain consultant.
Yeah. So the first 15 years of my profession, I spent enormous amount of resources and time becoming skilled at manual techniques so that I could put my hands on people and fix them and get them out of pain. And I got the work I did because I learned from experts was pretty effective. And I often joke and say I'm not all that brilliant. I'm just really gifted at finding brilliant people and learning what they know. So I was really good at finding those people and learning what they knew and what worked. And then the past 15 years, I came across what I call the holy grail of movement training, which is taught by the Gray Institute, but they only teach healthcare professionals, movement professionals, licensed professionals. They don't teach the general public. And so I saw the benefit of that training in the clinic setting, how much it helped with those people who had pain and they couldn't figure out what was going on. Those people where nothing shows up on an image and the doctors can't find anything wrong with them, which is about 70% of the population that has low back pain, by the
Wow.
way. If you look at a pie chart, 70% says unknown cause. So, and there's a reason for that. But so I, saw how effective this was in the clinic setting, and I thought, I wonder if I can teach this because I was teaching classes at the local community college, community ed classes for the community. And so I started teaching classes in the movement and was blown away by the results. And so I thought, huh. So I created this online, I call it my private club. It's Move Without Pain Private Club. And I created 52 different movement classes so people could start 1 week a class for a year and train their bodies in the most phenomenal way. And I created a free level for that so people could kind of test it and see before they invested any resources at all. And I was blown away by the results of just the free class. People were saying, oh my gosh, I got out of the car and I didn't have to wait 2 minutes before I could take a step without back pain. I mean, just the emails I was getting were phenomenal. And so I knew, okay, this is going to work. So I started a YouTube channel, lots of free education on there. I kind of want to erase pain from the world, and I know I need a really big eraser.
Yes.
So, but this movement training it's unlike traditional fitness industry type exercise. And it's very effective at resolving chronic pain.
Nice. I love that you want people to be pain-free.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
my focus is on PMS pain, but it's similar. I just want women to be happy and be able to hang out with their grandkids and kids and everything.
Yes. And when you
Um,
teach them what you know, it helps them to resolve because this
yep.
information is not mainstream knowledge, but it
Yeah.
needs to be.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly. So you mentioned low back pain, and you said that 70% of it has an unknown cause. So talk more about that.
Yeah, so the other 30% are things like something shows up on imaging, like degenerative disc disease or stenosis, or God forbid, 3% is like cancer or some kind of a growth.
Mhm.
Um, but that 70% is because usually it's habits. It might have something to do with food intake. A lot of the times it's not moving and not knowing how,
Mhm.
or exercising the wrong way, which is what the world teaches. And I'm not here to pick on people, but people can only teach what they know. And I liken it this way. Most people are training their body like a dead person. And the reason I say that is the anatomy teaching that people are still getting as like athletic trainers, even physical therapists or anybody who's in the movement industry, is based on studying cadavers and
Mhm.
how the muscles attach to the body. And the problem with that is the human body, the muscles perform in the context of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So we're doing
Interesting.
exercises. Okay, this is where the muscle attaches here and here. And when it shortens, this movement happens. So everybody does that movement against resistance repetitively. And that leads to tendonitis, tendinosis, tendinopathy,
Mhm.
pain issues. It doesn't resolve things, it can cause things. And people get injured. They go to the gym, they want to get fit. And a mom who has a really busy life doesn't have a lot of time to waste doing stuff that isn't going to work and God forbid causes harm.
Yep.
And now she's struggling to take care of her family.
Yep.
So this program means so much to me, which is why I have, the YouTube videos, everything so much for free because I want people to understand this. And once people start hearing, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Now they can start doing the right things for them. And it doesn't take long. That's the best part. I mean, like I mentioned before, I'm less than 3 years from 70. I don't have pain. I don't spend 4 hours in the gym. I don't have time. I have way too much I want to do in life.
Yep.
So you can literally spend 30 minutes or less a day and be very fit, very mobile, very healthy,
Yeah.
and not lose things as you get older. And,
Incredible.
the moms want to be healthy grandmoms.
They
You
do.
know,
Yes.
yes, yes. I
So
mean,
they
I
can run
can,
around behind all of those grandkids, right? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I can hang out with my grandsons and do what they're doing.
Yeah,
So
one can jump off the sofa and you can catch him without
I
falling
can catch him
over.
and he doesn't knock me over.
Um, so talk about how moms can start taking care of their bodies now to prevent injury in the future.
Yes. So I think the biggest thing is we need to understand that we're a whole body. A
Mhm.
lot of the problems with what we've been taught is we're going to work this muscle, we're going to work that muscle, we're going to do this exercise, we're going to do that exercise. When you understand how everything's connected, that really helps to condense the amount of time you invest because the same movements will work your whole body from your nose to your toes and can improve knee function, hip function, low back function, shoulder function, neck function without having to do a special set of exercises for this body part and that body part. And so just knowing everything's connected. And then if we want to focus more on low back, which I think that was the goal for today, so we're not having people's eyes glaze over and here for 4 hours, the low back is designed to have its strength in bending forward and backward. So
Mhm.
it can do some side bending, but it does very little rotation. And so, and this is based on how the vertebrae stack up in the spine. It only has about 7 to 13 degrees of rotation, which, if this is 0 and I turn this way and that's 90, 7 to 13 is very little. So
Mhm.
what happened many years ago is somebody got a hold of, I'm thinking they got a hold of the Copangi joint motion book, the biomechanics of the spine, and they learned it doesn't rotate, and they thought that must be why everybody's injuring their back because they're doing rotation when they exercise, and so they're hurting themselves. So they taught people don't rotate, don't turn when you exercise, and all this other, what I can say is inaccurate nonsense because we have to rotate. To get out of a car, you got to be able to turn. To
Yes.
cook a meal in your kitchen, you got to be able to turn. So, to get out of your bed, you got to be able to turn. I mean, it's just kind of crazy. And if you watch your little ones, especially your toddlers, when they get on and off the floor, they're usually turning as they do it. So,
Right.
we've got to be able to rotate. So, here's the deal about the lumbar spine, the lower back. The rotation is supposed to occur above it and below it. And the low back's job is to translate that rotation. So, to make it simple, if I'm standing in the kitchen and I turn to look behind me, because one of my kids just called me, and I turn to look behind me, my trunk just rotated.
Right.
Now, if you're standing, and anybody who's listening to this, if they're standing, go ahead and turn to look behind you. Your hips have to rotate too. And so, what happens is your low back sends that rotation from your trunk into your hips.
Mm.
It doesn't have to do the rotation, it just kind of forwards it, kind of like forwarding an email. Now, what happens if your hips don't rotate very well? The low back kind of gets
Veins.
trashed.
Yeah.
So every time you rotate, your low back is taking the brunt because the hips won't do it.
Got it.
And then it
I knew
goes from the
that.
other direction. If I go to turn in the kitchen, I got to turn around and my foot moves. So now my foot moves and I turn. Now my hips are rotating. The low back's job is to send that rotation up into the trunk.
Mm.
What happens if the trunk doesn't rotate? The low back gets trashed. So I
Again,
kind of
yeah.
joke a little bit and say you can sort of fix low back pain by ignoring the low back because you want to pay attention to what's happening above it and below it. And generally speaking, that's kind of the same about a lot of body parts. Like the knee is dependent on the hip above and the ankle below.
Yep.
And if you focus on the knee, you're going to miss everything
Yeah.
that needs to be
Yeah.
paid attention to. And when you go to see somebody in my profession, you're going to be seen as a low back that walks through the door. It's very rare that they're going to look at your trunk. It's rare they're going to look at your hips. They're going to say, oh no, you're here for your back. I can't look at those body parts. I
Right.
won't get off on a tangent. That's not really completely accurate, but sometimes it just depends on the insurance you're using and, of course, the skill of the therapist. So that said, training your body in what I call three-plane movement, because we
Hmm.
move in three planes. We move
Yep.
forward and back, we side bend, and we rotate. Now, yes, there are parts of the body that won't do all three of those, but other parts are meant to do that so that the teamwork has no problem. Nobody gets injured on the team. And so I find that when people are addressing the actual cause, which is why I wrote my book and called it Pain Culprits, because people are beating up the victim and ignoring the culprits.
Yep.
And so, and as a mom, you know, if you're doing a lot of holding babies, you're doing a lot of, and we're all like one-handed. So we're going to have that kid sitting on that hip. You know, I'm right-handed, so I want my right hand free so that I can cook or move something or turn on the faucet. I've got that child on that left hip. So now I've got my hip shifted over. So my back is
Yep.
going to be side bent most of the time. And you know, I'm doing some rotation, but if my hip's lacking rotation, if my trunk's lacking rotation,
Yep.
that low back is not going to be happy. So
Wow.
so yeah.
So I knew about the knee. I knew that it depends on the hip and the ankle joint, but I never heard this about the low back. So that is very interesting.
Hmm.
And it makes so much sense,
Yes. And
right?
that's what I hear a lot. People say that. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. So,
Yeah.
hmm,
And especially for the young moms, you're carrying a toddler or something. Yeah, I
yeah.
used to
Or
do that, leave my
breastfeeding,
hip,
you know,
yep, leave my
your
hip up.
trunk can kind of get immobile a little bit because you're in these prolonged positions for hours at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so your free membership there, it's quick videos that they can just do in 30 minutes or less.
Yes, there's the initial video is really good for them to do. It's called my MPA, or the Movement Performance Assessment. It's only, I think it's 23 minutes long, and it walks them through doing a three-plane assessment of whole body movement. And there's a document they can print out and they can document what they find. Like, oh my gosh, my right hip doesn't like to turn, or my left ankle doesn't dorsiflex. And I teach all that in the movement thing. They don't have to be anatomy experts or physiology experts to understand anything. I make it very explainable, or understandable.
Mhm.
And so they can see what's going on in their body. They can figure out, wow, I didn't even realize that this body part wasn't moving in this plane of motion. And then there's a movement instruction video where they learn how to do, I think there's 6 different exercises, 6 different movements that address that three-plane function basically from the ground up.
Awesome.
And so they can get a really good start. And I think the workout, they learn the movements, they understand why they're doing them, and any modifications they might need, because everybody's unique. So if somebody has maybe some balance issues or some pain issues, I give lots of modifications in the video. If this causes you pain, this is what you want to try to do, so
Nice.
nobody gets hurt. But
Yep.
then I do the workout in reps so they can work out along with me. And I believe the
Okay.
workout is like 20 minutes. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay. Well, this is an amazing free resource. So where can people get it?
Yeah, so the website is, well, I call it Move Without Pain Private Club, but we initialized it. So it's mwpprivateclub.com. Yes.
Nice. And how can people connect with you if they want to follow
So
you and have questions?
yeah, if they go to that website, they can easily contact me in any way. And I do get back to people. I answer all my emails. And please check your spam folder if you don't see an answer from me within a couple of days at least. Usually I get back the same day. And spam is my nemesis. People think I'm too busy. I didn't respond. I didn't reply. And I'll usually send a second and like, did you get my first reply? And hopefully they get that one. And then they go, oh, yes, I did. So, yeah.
Nice. And I will link all of that in the show notes below so people can find you easily. This was great. I learned something new, and I'm sure our listeners did too. So thank you, Eileen, for joining me today. It was great.
Yes, thank you.
Are you struggling to be the best mom you can be? Are you fatigued, overwhelmed, and stressed out? Are you losing precious time with your family because of PMS? If so, sign up for my free gift on how to start living in tune with your monthly cycle. The link to get it is in the show notes below. Use this guide to help you start to eliminate your symptoms of PMS, increase your energy, reduce stress, and fully enjoy this incredible mom life. The way I see it, you have 3 choices. You can try to figure it all out on your own. You can do nothing and stay where you are, or you can get the customized guidance you need to thrive as a mom. The choice is yours. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something from these stories. If you enjoyed this show, please make sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. It really helps this show grow. If you have a mom story you would like to share, click on the link in the description below on becoming a podcast guest. Remember, the content on this podcast is for general information only. It does not replace any medical advice given by your healthcare providers. Please check with your doctor if you have any questions about your specific condition and before starting any new diet or exercise regimen. Thank you, and you will hear from me soon.